Welcome to another session of teaching tips from Mayo's clinics, part of the Cafe Meeting Place. Cafe is a wonderful place to visit. It has a lot of information about teaching, and it helps us in many, many ways. There's resources like recipes, there's articles, there's new developments, new trends, etc., and all the information about the various workshops that Cafe puts on during the year. So I encourage you to check the website, www.cafemeetingplace. These teaching tips are meant to help you in those days when you're not sure why you really decided to be a teacher, whether you're new, whether you're experienced, whether you just want some re-stimulation. They're here for you. But remember, we're doing a good job as teachers. We're doing the best we can. It's really important to show your students that you care. Because if you show them that you care, they're really open to learn about what you have to share with them and what information you can share. Today we're going to talk about how you organize small groups and what various different kinds of formats you can use to make a difference. There is another teaching tip on using small groups. This one is going to talk about structures and about formats. So they really are complementary. And the reason they're complementary is we do these little short things so you can enjoy them, just pick up a piece. But if you watch a range of them, you'll develop a whole cadre of teaching strategies. Now, there's three major ways to think about formats. One of them is simultaneous small groups, open chair, and concentric groups. Now, most of us know what simultaneous small groups are. We do it all the time. We put a bunch of students together. All the small groups are working at the same time in the classroom. Very effective, very useful, done a lot. I encourage you, however, to think about who you put together in those small groups, so it's not always the people sitting side by side, and there's some ideas in the other teaching tips about using small groups. But when you think about when you think about simultaneous small groups, what you're doing is using groups in the classroom all at the same time. So it's much more privacy, much more involvement, and you get students to talk and participate actively as you do it. It's a great technique. If you use dyads or pairs, one of the benefits is that someone's always listening and someone's always talking. So it's active, it's engaged, and people think about it. The disadvantage is if they're sort of both shy and reluctant to talk, it's sort of nothing happens. A trio, also a small group model, is an unbalanced group. So what happens is that you find someone's listening, someone's talking, and someone's sort of left out. It shifts, it goes around, etc., but it's inherently unbalanced, which makes it a little bit better for work. A quad can divide into two pairs, but using a 3, 4, or 5 is a very good idea. You use 6, 7, 8 people at the same time. It's hard to have that groups hear each other in a large classroom situation, and some people never get a chance to participate. There's just not enough airtime. The advantage of doing this small group work is that if people just listen to you lecture and talk, even if you use really good visual aids and wonderful PowerPoints and props, etc., they only remember 50% of what you talk about. If they talk about it themselves, they remember 70%. What a big difference. Now, we're still not getting to excellent grades, but they'll remember 70% because they talk about it. The second strategy to use is an open chair. An open chair is a structured format in which a group of people participate in a small group discussion in front of the rest of the class. And you ask for volunteers. Typically, I get volunteers easily, and if I don't, I just sit and wait. And my students know that I will wait until they volunteer. But what happens if you get 3 or 4 or 5 volunteers, you add an extra chair, it's an empty chair. And what you do is you tell people that if you didn't volunteer, you cannot participate in this discussion. You observe, you listen, you watch. If you want to contribute, you leave your chair and you come and take the empty chair, make your point, make your contribution. That can be about content, it can be about process, it can be about getting them back on track, it can be anything that helps that group. And then you leave the empty chair and go back to the rest of your peers and sitting in their chairs. The idea is that it brings outside resources to that small group, but everyone's watching to see if they want to participate, not participate, get involved, not get involved, etc. It's a great technique, it's a very powerful technique, and it's really interesting. If you have a large group of students, I encourage you to have 2 empty chairs so they're easier to get to from opposite sides of the room. The third strategy is concentric circles. And in that situation, you have two circles, one inside the other, of roughly the same number of students on each circle. And the idea is that if you're in the center circle, you start the conversation, you start the debate, you start the analysis, and the people on the outside watch. They can't participate, they can't talk, they can't interrupt, and it's really important for you to stop them if they start to talk. Because when the center circle is talking, the outside circle watches, observes, and then you stop it, and the same conversation is continued by the outside circle. The benefit of this is everyone listens very intently because they never know when they're going to be asked to start to talk or observe, and everyone focuses. It's also true the energy focuses on the topic if you can have concentric circles. Now, if you don't have movable chairs and it's a harder situation, do the best you can. I've actually done it with fixed chairs at NYU, which we had a group of students in the center and a group of students on the outside. But it's a great technique to get everyone involved in the conversation, and everyone hears the same conversation, so there's no need to do any reporting out. It's already structured and already set out. So you have three strategies: simultaneous small groups, whether you do them in pairs, trios, quads, or quints, and then you have an open chair technique, and then you also have concentric circles. Try the different formats, see how they come out. You may find you invent a new format or a new structure, one that works for you in your classroom. So see how well it goes. Don't forget to check out other teaching tips at the Cafe Meeting Place website, www.cafemeetingplace.com. There's a lot of resources for you. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, teaching is challenging, invigorating, and fun. Have a great day.